Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Self Love with Nia Zamara. I hope that your week has been fabulous. And I just want to, how we do when we get together on Sunday. We just chit chat a bit. And it's that time of year, it's November, and I'm seeing like the memes start to pop out. The, who this, new phone, the who this, new year, like, the memes like about everybody that they're gonna delete off Facebook for 2018. Like, we're starting to see that happen, and I've been thinking more about throwaway culture, and what that means to me is a tendency that we have when something doesn't go right, or we're not feeling somebody, or somebody annoys us, or whatever it is, or somebody hurts us. Instead of trying to figure out how we can work through things, we have become a culture of folks who are ready to throw people away. We're like, oh, well, I don't fuck with so-and-so no more. I don't talk to so-and-so no more, So I just feel like it's important that we start thinking about what self-care looks like at this end of the year point, where certain people who came with us into 2017 are not going to be going with us in 2018 for various reasons, Primarily, this video is about folks who have lost friendships, relationships, just have lost people because of more so falling out, or like people who choose just not to be in our lives anymore. I'm not necessarily focused in this video on like folks who have left our life for reasons that they can't control, such as like passing on and transitioning. Because I feel like that's a whole separate experience, and I'm a person who has lost. I've talked about it before. I've lost many people in my life. I've seen a lot of death within my lifetime, and I feel like that experience for me is a different experience of loss from the experience of someone choosing to leave my life. Both very painful experiences, but definitely the way I heal through it is different, So I kind of wanted to have it be separate topics of discussion. So for this video, we're mostly going to be talking about like, what does self-care and self-love look like when folks are leaving our lives, or when we're asking folks to leave our life, or we need to leave someone's life for whatever reason, And I want to start off by saying that it's just not your fault. I think that when someone leaves us, we start to think like, what did I do wrong? Like, what could I have done differently? How could I have been different? What did I need to do to make them stay, And I feel like it's important that we start off by having a clear understanding that it's just not your fault, and people leave our lives for so many reasons. And I think the big thing is I'm learning, or I have learned in the past 2 years, is this idea of impermanence. This idea that even if you, like, loving something isn't this idea of it's going to, because I love you or because I love this thing, it will be like this forever. I feel like part of the lesson of learning to love is learning to accept the changes and love things as things change and as things shift, So what that looks like when I'm talking about like impermanence is those relationships that have ended that are not our fault that they ended, or simply because of the flow of time, the flow of energy. People's frequencies don't match anymore, You may have met someone, 10 years ago, a year ago, whatever it was, and you met them for a purpose. They had a particular purpose that they would serve in your life, a particular thing that they would do in terms of why they came into your world. You had a particular purpose for their life of why you came into their world. And once people serve their purpose, there's nothing you can do. Like, there's nothing you can do to extend that friendship or that relationship. I don't know if y'all have ever tried it. I'm sure you have, because I definitely have. Where, you feel the ending coming near, and you start to try to do things to extend it, to make it work. And then it just doesn't. Like, nothing you do. Like, it just seems like everything starts falling apart, I call it burning the kitchen counter, because when I knew I needed to move out of my mom's house was when I burnt the kitchen counter in the most silliest of ways. Like, I still don't understand how I did it, but there's just a frequency and an energy, and whenever we need to move, when we stay stuck, we stay still, even if we try to do it because we're scared, or because we don't want to deal with change, or whatever our reason is. It's like things get more challenging. It's just like we can't do it because energy needs to move. It's necessary. So I think it's important to know that it's not your fault. That those endings were natural endings that needed to happen, and it was its time. It was its time. It was just an idea whose time has come, you know? So that person leaving, it was just, its time had come, they had served their purpose, and it's time to go. So I would start there by just coming to a place where you can look at yourself in the mirror and understand that that relationship that ended is not your fault. That friendship that ended is not your fault. It's just not your fault. It was an idea whose time had come. Your frequencies were no longer aligned. Your goals, whatever it was, it no longer matched. And it no longer served you or that person to be sharing space with each other or exchanging energy with each other. And once you're able to come to that, I have experienced for myself, because I have also, let me tell you, have also lost friendships and lost people in 2017. And because for very similar reasons, just it was an ideas whose time has come, and we no longer were on the same frequency or vibing the same way. Even if we wanted to try, it just wasn't matching up. The flow wasn't there anymore, you know? We served our purpose. So once I accepted that, it gave me a certain like lightness, because you know, I was feeling heavy, like shit, what did I do? Like, how could I have done this differently? But I started to feel a little lighter with this knowledge that I was able to acquire. And once I did that, I was able to look at the situation a little bit more objectively, a little bit more from a distance, to start thinking about myself and like, how can I grow from this? What is divine trying to teach me from this, you know? So the next step to me is to really start journaling. It's easy to just be like, okay, well, that person did this, I'm gonna not talk to them anymore, fuck them, I don't give up, and just leave it there and make it all about them and what they did. But the growth comes from when we're able to stop and say, okay, this happened, so now how can I reflect on it for myself in ways that I can grow from this? What is the lesson here? What is the beautiful fruit from this that I can now have in my life to help me move forward and to do other things, you know? So I found that like, just like journaling about it and having conversations about it, to be honest, and just helping myself process it, like process what happened, why it happened, and then areas of my life, you know? So from my endings that I had in terms of friendship endings, what I was able to gather from it is, okay, how do I be a better friend? What does it look like for me to be present in my friend's life? And also, what's my friendship style? I'm learning that I'm not a really like hand-holding, coddling type of person. I just don't know how to do it. It's not my strong suit. Like, that's not my nurturing style. If you need me, I'm down for you. I ride with you. Call me anytime if you need me. But I probably won't talk to you every day. Probably won't even talk to you every week. It's just what it is. Like, it's just not my style. So I had conversation with my friends. I was like, I think I'm a low maintenance friendship kind of person. Like, I like to doing like once a month we meet up for dinner or something like that, and we like catch up, and I might hit you up once a week, if that, you know? That's just how I am. And I'm learning that some of the friendship I had end is because people had different styles than me. And like, I felt like I wasn't able to meet their needs, and they felt neglected because that just didn't match up with my style in terms of me trying to manage my own schedule, my relationship, my family, my business. Like, I just couldn't juggle it all. And when it came down to it, I was like, I am realizing and learning that I need to keep my friendships nice and quaint, and that while I do care about people very genuinely, I don't have the capacity to have really ongoing conversations in the ways that I used to when I used to be like on WhatsApp with people, constantly messaging back and forth. I don't have that no more. That's what I learned about myself. So I started thinking more about how I can be present. I started doing gratitude letters for people. I started thinking like, okay, how can I let my friends know they matter? What does that look like? So it's easy to just focus on what someone else did to you and think about it like that. But I think the growth comes when we're able to say, while this is not my fault because this is just a natural order of life, I can grow from this. I can gain knowledge from this. What is the knowledge that I can gain here? And how can I move on to be a better lover, friend, sister, brother, daughter, whatever? How can I excel? How can I raise my frequency, my vibration from this experience? Yes, this loss is hurtful. There's grief, there's pain here, but also what can be birthed from it? What can I create from this energy to transform it into something new that can help my life and help me grow as a person? And I feel like once we're able to come to terms with impermanence, we're able to turn the lesson, the ending into a lesson and a new beginning for our lives. We're able to start really doing some alchemy work within our life. We're able to start really transforming our lives and better stepping into like whatever it is that was set up for us in terms of what the new frequency is, and doing that. And then I feel like being mindful, like, yes, these endings are going to happen, but being mindful of why endings have happened in the past and how can we move into 2018 in a way that we're holding our people close, you know? So that every year, because like, honestly, I don't know about y'all, but I get tired of seeing people every single year, the same people being like, I'm going to cut somebody off this year. It's just like, why do you want to live like that? Like, that don't even make no sense to me. And don't get me wrong, again, natural frequency, people leave your life naturally. It's okay. But to go into every single year trying to figure out who you're going to cut off by the end of the year, that don't make no sense to me. So I feel like it's important for us to be mindful of, okay, well, we're going to 2018, who we're rocking with, and then how do we really hold those people close and be accountable to those people, and knowing that some people might leave because impermanence is real, but also how do we do our best to really care for people in our lives. And I think the next point is really self-care. Self-care, because I really do believe in abundance. I believe abundance is an energy. I believe abundance starts within us. I went to this healer, and I don't know, like, she just read me to filth on some realness. Like, I felt a little bit like, how you know my life? But she said to me, like, it's about 2 years ago or something like that. But she said to me essentially, like, I was afraid of not being loved or something like along the lines of that. Like, not being loved as I am, or not being enough, something like that. And that I felt like the people that were around me, I had to accept whatever I was being given because I didn't have the trust and abundance that I would be provided for. And I feel like where the self-care and the self-love comes into it is as I started to learn that I am enough, and I'm still learning it, like, let me not pretend like every day I'm learning it, but learning that I can be loved as I am, and learning that, like, I can end up having less friends but still have, like, quality, meaningful relationships. Like, to me, like, just learning about that kind of abundance, but learning more than anything that comes from inside of me. The more I learn how to accept me and love me, and the more I have abundance for myself, the more that abundance leaks out into my life and flows into my life and my relationships and my work, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm touching, it becomes more abundant when that lives in me. So I feel like as we're, you know, going through this wrap up of the year, really taking time to focus on our self-love and self-care journeys going into 2018 so that we're filling ourselves back up. That when we're going through these experiences of loss, we fill ourselves back up and we're able to really experience the inner abundance that is necessary to tap into the abundance of the universe and start to shift what our relationships in life look like going into 2018. So let me recap that a little bit for y'all. If you're a person like myself who has experienced loss of relationships or loss of friendships or just loss of connections in 2017, and you came into the year with some people and you're going out of it without those people, if you're that person, I just want to share with you some tips that I have. And in a nutshell, it is, one, learn about impermanence. Like really take the time to meditate on it and accept that everything is always changing and shifting and it's not your fault. It is part of the natural progression of life that something will come into your life, serve its purpose, and leave your life. And that is okay. Number two, but learn from everything. Like, always take an opportunity to learn a lesson and see how you can raise your frequency, your vibration, and propel yourself forward in life from the people who have left your life. What can you take from that understanding and figure out what do you need to implement into your life to be a better, whatever it is that you want to be better at. And then number 3, self-care, self-love. Just take the time to really build a relationship with yourself, because relationship with yourself is all the relationships outside of you are a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. As you build that relationship to be abundant, you'll start to see the relationships in your life transform and also be more abundant. And I say that as a person who's living it today. As people start to leave my life and I start to do more self-care and reflection, I start to strengthen the relationships I actually had in my life and work harder at them and be better at them. And therefore, ultimately, I feel like I'm able to go into 2018 with stronger bonds, stronger relationships that I'm feeling like will stand the test of time, you know? So that's my little 2 cents about that. I really hope that this was helpful for you, and that from this you're able to really reflect on some of your relationships and reevaluate, and not have to be that person who's like, I'm about to lock off everybody at the end of 2018. Like, I really am hoping to see that kind of energy within our community start to shift, so we don't feel like every end of year we need to cut people off. Like we don't need to carry that kind of trauma and pain and grief constantly. We can let that go, you know. Let's just like release that into 2017 and not bring it with us into 2018. Hope this video was helpful. I look forward to talking to y'all again next Sunday. Peace.